Good evening, everyone. Ivory Lady, Kitty Q, Purple. Good evening. Gianna Marie. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to tonight's trivia. I hope we all had a great weekend. Hope you're able to stay inside and or someplace that's cool because it's hot as hell out there, and particularly where I am. It is 102 right now. Good evening, Pippadot. Welcome to tonight's trivia. Hope you had a great weekend. Give it a couple more minutes before we get started. Let people get the notifications and hop in. This is the 368th episode of Trivia. 368. Good evening, Rykart. It is burning up here in Vermont as well. Oh. Nikki. Good evening, Nikki. Welcome to tonight's trivia. I hope you had a great weekend. Rykart, hope you are having a great day if you're not driving, or most likely are. We all got to work. Lemon Pie, good evening. Welcome to tonight's trivia, Lemon Pie. Yeah. It's 102 right now today. Tomorrow's supposed to be 107 here. And then Wednesday, it's either going to be 107 to 110. But that's pretty common for this area, especially this time of year. Good evening, Sal. Welcome to tonight's trivia, Sal. I hope you had a great weekend. Glad everyone could be here with us tonight for trivia. Lita. Good evening, Lita. Welcome to tonight's trivia. Now, all these trivia questions are leftovers on the Watts family murders that I forgot that I even had them. I was digging through trivia nights, and I found like two or three of them. I found one on the Watts murders, and I found one on uh, the son of Sam, and one on Samuel Little. So I just totally forgot to do them. I don't know how long. I didn't date them, so I didn't, write down when I did them. I put the list of these questions together. Hot, Pippadot, but good. It's been hot, very hot. But I'm surviving. You're not driving tonight. It's 7 p.m. here over here already. I don't like the Eastern time zone. Yeah, 3 hours difference from the Pacific coast. It could be worse. You could be in the UK right now where it's midnight. I remember when it being 118 over there when you were a kid. Oh yeah. The hottest part of the year for us here is the end of July and then all of the month of August. It just gets unbearable. If you don't have air conditioning or you don't have good air conditioning, you'll find people who will spend 5 or 6 hours at the grocery store doing nothing but buying, one or two things, just window shopping. They go to the mall. They can hang out in the malls, anywhere where there's air conditioning. Because, yeah, I would hate to see anybody try to survive without it around this area. It's kind of like living in Arizona, or New Mexico. But, all right, let's get tonight's trivia going. And again, welcome, everyone. I'm glad you could be here tonight for trivia night. This is The Anatomy of a Killer, Christopher Watts. This trivia night is strictly adheres to factual evidence, verified data from the FBI, the Department of Justice, and Scotland Yard whenever needed. It does not include conspiracy theories, speculation, or unverified claims about what may have happened. If you are seeking sensationalism or content related to similar theories or lies spread by those who can't be bothered to do the research on the topic, this event and subject matter may not be the right fit for you. This program documents actual crimes and offenses by criminals. Some of the content covered here may not be suitable for all audiences. Viewer discretion is advised. While I've got your attention, if you're not a subscriber, right down below this screen where you're seeing this right now, you shall see if it says subscribe and it is not white, or if it's white, then click on it. Without further delay, let's get ready to rumble on some trivia. Question number 1 is now on your screen. And let me get myself my little window here. 1 second. There we go. Question number 1. What eerie foreshadowed in one of Shannon Watts' last Facebook videos? Was it A, Chris had plans to hurt her? B, Chris may not love her anymore? C, Chris might be having an affair? Or D, Chris was a really big dumbass? And I totally agree with you, Reichart. I hate Christopher Watts too. And Callie Lisa. Good evening, Callie Lisa, and welcome to tonight's trivia. Question number 1 of 20. What eerie foreshadowed in one of Shannon Watts' last videos that she shared on Facebook? Are you ready to rumble? I missed that from Friday Night Fights, or boxing. And then they had the Sugar Ray Leonard did boxing, and so did it was, I can't remember the other guy that did. But both, there were 2 other guys who were former boxers who also did either Friday Night Fights, or they did their own version of it later on after Friday Night Fights. But let's get ready to rumble. Obviously, I can't do it justice. What eerie foreshadowed in one of Shannon Watts' last Facebook videos? Question number 1. Good evening, Gemma. Welcome to tonight's trivia. I hope you had a wonderful day today. And I know Sugar Ray Leonard did Friday Night Fights, or he did the HBO one, wasn't it? But there was Sugar Ray. I want to say Camacho. I don't think it was Camacho though. Oh man, I could picture him, but I'm trying. That's not Camacho. But I think he was either a lightweight or a featherweight, who did another show that was kind of like Friday Night Fights. I used to look forward to watching those, especially the undercards. I didn't necessarily need to see the title card fight, but the undercard. Learn about new boxers I never heard of before. All right, question number 1. The correct answer is B, as in boy. And one of her towards the end of her videos that she had posted on Facebook, she foreshadowed that she believed that there's a chance that Chris doesn't love her anymore. B as in boy. Question number 2. What unusual significance did the oil tanks play where Chris hid his daughter's body? Was it A, the crude oil slowed decomposition? B, they would never have looked there? C, it destroyed all forensics? Or D, Chris is a dumbass? Question number 2 of 20. What unusual significance did the oil tanks play where Chris hid his daughter's bodies? I was only into boxing when Mike Tyson was in his prime. Mike was a destroyer of souls when he was in his prime. Mama Bear, good evening and welcome to tonight's trivia. And why wonder? Good evening. Welcome to tonight's trivia. I hope you both had a wonderful weekend. Question number 2. What unusual significance did the oil tanks play where Chris hid his daughter's bodies? Kitty Kid's going B? Question mark? I don't know. Ivory Lady says D is the correct answer for every question. Chris is a dumbass. Yes. He was the destroyers of souls. Yes. Back when Mike was in his prime, I watched a couple of his pay-per-view fights. Unfortunately, both of the ones that I paid for the watch on pay-per-view, I don't think either one of the two fights ever made it past the third round. He just destroyed people. Up until he started to lose his freaking mind against Holyfield in the Holyfield fight when he bit his ear off, or a chunk of his ear. All right, question number 2. The correct answer is A as in apple. The crude oil actually encapsulated and covered and slowed decomposition down for both of the girls. Both of the tanks, at the time that he dumped them in, were 3/4 of the way full. They had to pump all that oil out and slowly strain it to make sure that nothing was left behind in the oil. And then they had to take a manhole cover off that had exactly 10 bolts that held the man cover on so they could go into the tank to retrieve both of them. And that is something that I would never be able to do. I mean, I've worked in a tank farm before, and going into the tank, that ain't a problem. But going into the tank to retrieve the bodies of these two dead girls would be something I couldn't deal with it. And talk about somebody who's probably needs some therapy to get over the PTSD that they got from that. But anyways, it preserved the evidence and slowed decomposition. Question number 3. What odd internet search did Chris Watts make before the murder? Was it A, how to make a gun at home? B, how to have gay sex with a man? C, how to get away with murder? Or D, how to marry your mistress? Question number 3 of 20. What odd internet search did Chris Watts make before the murders? It should be plural. Obviously, we know there were 4 murders total, counting his unborn son, baby Nico. That is definitely true with nightmares. Excuse me. So my wife bought me these new sparkling waters from Costco. They're Topo Chico. This is the raspberry with lemonade flavored sparkling water. I don't know if I'm a big fan of these or not. I mean, it definitely has a slight raspberry hint to it. It's kind of like a can of water that drove past a raspberry field. That's about how much of a flavor it really has. Joe Tallchief. Good evening, Joe Tallchief. Welcome to tonight's trivia. The answer to question number 3 is D as in dog. He Googled how to marry your mistress before he actually murdered his family. How to marry your mistress. Question number 4. What other odd and foretelling internet search did Chris Watts do days before the murders? Was it A, how to steal from your wife's bank? B, how to sell a quad runner fast? C, what does it feel like to be in love? Or D, committing murder feels like? What other foretelling internet search did Chris Watts do days before the murders? What is the answer to question number 2? Was A, Pippadot, A. Tom Baker. Good evening, Tom Baker. You've never heard of the Christopher Watts and the Watts family murders. I wish I was you, Tom Baker. I wish I was you. I wish I never would have heard of this SOB. But Christopher Watts killed his wife, his 2 little girls, and his unborn son. In a nutshell, 7 years ago. He is now doing an extensive sentence that he will never outlive in the Dodge Correction Center in Wisconsin at Wampum. Good evening, Lily Polly. Welcome to tonight's trivia. It's adjusted so well to prison. It's disgusting. Well, that's a yes and no on that, Joe Tallchief. He's had a couple of run-ins and gotten in to some issues. He's obviously paying people to protect him with whatever he can get and whatever they want, commissary, his personal items, whatever it might be, because well, two type of people do not have a very good time in prison. Not that anyone should have a good time, but they don't do easy time. Pedophiles and anyone who hurts women and children, they do not have an easy time in prison. Did y'all hear he is planning on getting married? No, I did not, and I would be really surprised if he was, because if there's one lady out there, his new quote unquote girlfriend, who believes that she is the significant and the only one that is in his heart, she's being lied to, and she's downright foolish. Because I have actually read and seen the interview with not one but 3 former people who were in the same housing pod who have been released or transferred out of that pod to another prison, and they all agree that Christopher has been writing to not one but a lot of different women monthly. So, question number 4, the correct answer is C as in cat. What does it feel like to be in love was one of the other internet searches that he did before the murder. Question number 5. What was the next to last text Shanann Watts sent to her friend about? Was it A, Chris has been drinking again? B, Chris is being cold and distant? C, Chris cleaned the house? Or D, whose panties are these? Question mark. Seeking the truth with Dave is friends with his parents, and they confirmed it. I'm sorry. I feel sorry for anybody who does that though. But you have to remember there are a lot of people question why would anybody want to marry someone on death row or has a sentence that is longer, and there must be something truly damaging about them. They must be damaged individuals, and to some extent there are, but there are other people who maybe they've been cheated on or abused by previous relationship, and they know where this individual is going to be day in and day out, and they know that they can never hurt them. And to some people, just that factor alone of knowing where they're going to be and they're never going to hurt them, that alone is enough reason for some of these men and women. It goes both ways, ladies and gentlemen, to fall in love with these inmates. That is an attractive feature, to start off with. It's usually because they have security issues. Yeah, yeah, very very much so, Kitty Coo. All right, question number 5. The correct answer is B, as in boy. Chris is being cold and distant. All right. Next is, did you know? Although although Shanann Watts' body showed absolutely no defensive wounds, Chris Watts said they fought and he killed her in rage. We now know she was asleep when he killed her. Well, I mean, there's a lot of that too. You don't have to deal with domestic issues. No, did you pay the taxes or the insurance? Did you pay the electric bill? You don't have to worry about anybody else doing that stuff. Question number 6. After murdering his wife and children, what did Chris Watts eat before actually working that day? Was it A, McDonald's big breakfast meal? B, a gas station burrito and drink? C, a gas station sandwich and drink? Or D, Burger King croissant meal? Insane in the Membrane. Great song. Insane in the Membrane. I have the CD somewhere. I'm trying to remember if it's in the car or in the living room. Cypress. Oh, by the way, for everybody else who doesn't remember, "Insane in the Membrane" is a song by Cypress Hill. 11 Pies going with Impossible Burger. I've tried one of those and it's good. I would never be fooled by the fact that it's not beef, but it's good. Question number 6. plate of glass. That stupid gas station breakfast sandwich, that loser Christopher Watts. Yeah, I mean, I don't think he's a loser for eating the breakfast sandwich, but yeah, he's definitely a loser. All right, question number 6. If you answered either B or C, you are correct. For question number 6, if you answered either B or C, you are correct. Because a burrito is a sandwich, according to some people. They consider a burrito a sandwich. So, but either way, according to Christopher Watts, after disposing of his wife and his children, he went to the convenience store and got a breakfast sandwich and a drink. And that is what he had for breakfast, and then he just went on his day like he normally does. And just about every day of the week, he either stopped and got McDonald's or he got a breakfast sandwich from the actual convenience store. And they are less than a half a block apart in distance. One is on the left side of the road, the other one is on the right side of the road. But he would stop at one of the two. And for all those out there that still believe that Christopher Watts didn't eat fast food and that he was on the Thrive diet, I hate to break that bad news to you, but he wasn't. He was on the Thrive diet thing for as much as Shannon wanted to push it for, her social media content, but he ate like crap the rest of the day. All right, moving on to question number 7. How much money did Christopher Watts lose on selling the King Quad runner and the trailer privately? Was it A, $7,231, B, $3,915, C, $1,209, or D, $13,500? In case you're not aware of the actual facts, Christopher Watts purchased a quad runner and trailer from a dealership in Denver, Colorado on credit. While he had the King Quad runner and the trailer at his house, oh, and by the way, he never used his company truck to pick up, or do any kind of personal business. The license plate number of the truck, the company truck, was written down on the actual pickup order. They noted the plate number on the invoice, the vehicle picking it up, and they took a copy of his driver's license when he showed up to pick up the trailer and the King Quad. And when he brought him home, but while under contract to make the purchase agreement, under contract, a loan. He took out a loan to buy this stuff. He sold them both privately to the same person and took a huge loss. How much of a loss did Christopher Watts actually take on the King Quad runner and the trailer? My nephew went to school, School with Gannon. I heard he's close to 240 pounds now. Well, he's definitely put on some weight. I don't know how much weight he's put on, but the last picture I saw of him, he definitely has chunked up for all his fun Sunday nights. Yeah, we're talking about Gannon Stouch. Rycar, 144,000 pennies. Letitia, yeah, we're talking about Stouch. I'll go with A and says Kitty Q. Question number 7 of 20. Of course, he took a huge loss. He's stupid. All right, question number B. Yes, that question number 7, the correct answer is B. He took a $3,915 loss on it, on selling the quad runner and the trailer. Chris had paid a total of just over $1,600 in actual payments on it, not counting his initial down payment for the trailer and for the quad. But he paid just over $1,600 in payments while he owned it and sold it and took a $3,900 loss. Now, here is the question that I've never been able to come up with the answer to. All right. I can trace the actual quad runner and the trailer back to the actual dealership that he purchased it at. I have in his file, I have a copy of that actual paperwork. I can follow the paperwork trail from Chris going there, buying it, picking it up, taking it home, making payments. I can track all of that. But what in the hell happened to it after that? After taking a $3,900 loss against on this, that is figuring what he owed left on the loan versus what he sold it for. How did the new owner ever get a title for it or for the trailer? The only way that the dealership is ever going to release the title for the quad runner or for the trailer is if the loan got paid off. And what did Chris and Shannon do with that money? Did they take it and send it to the actual finance company and then come up with $4,000 to pay off the difference? I don't know. The entire quad and trailer vanished from that point. And I've never been able to find or document who the hell he sold it to either. Did he sell it to a work friend, to his boss? I don't know. Was it just some Joe Schmo in their town? I don't know. I don't know what happened, but again, it just vanished off the face of the earth. Did somebody take it and said, "Well, I'm just never going to use it"? I mean, I'll give you circumstances that I know from back home in Wisconsin where I live, you don't necessarily have to title a quad runner or an ATV unless you use it in a state park or a federal park, or you take it on a road. Then you need plates and you need registration and stuff like that for it. But I mean, on the farm back home, we had quite a few different ATVs and quad runners and stuff that we never licensed. Maybe that's the situation there. But what happened to the trailer? I always wondered that. And as far as I know, I could never find anybody who actually dug into that part of it. There's some other things like that along the lines too that just didn't make sense in hindsight after it was all over with. The memorial mural painted on the side of the building for the block where I live downtown Chicago Springs. I wish I could post a pic in the chat. Oh, well, Mama Bear, wish you could too. Yeah, you could always email it to me, and then I can share it with everybody else. I'll put my email address in the comment section. You can send it to me, and I can share it with everybody later on. I can't do it tonight, during this live, at least unless you do it. Well, no, because then it would show my other contact information on the screen. So I would have to edit the photo out of the actual email itself. But if you want to send it to me, there's my email address. All right, moving on. I've spent enough time gabbing. What did dumbass spend the money on? He bought the King Quad Runner ATV and trailer, home gym equipment, unneeded work items he wouldn't be reimbursed for, Pittsburgh Steelers jerseys, and collectible memorabilia. This is on top of the ones that Shannon bought. So don't think, oh well, no, I saw on her Facebook profile she bought the jersey. Don't even start with me. Okay, I know that she did, and he bought additional ones. I know that, and plus gas station food and McDonald's, what he spent the money on. How did Chris Watts wine and dine his whore, Nicole Kessinger? How did Christopher Watts wine and dine his whore, Nicole Kissinger? Was it A, money from the joint bank account? B, money he stole out of Shannon's purse? C, credit cards and cash? Or D, gift cards from his work? Question number 9. How did Christopher Watts wine and dine his whore, Nicole Kessinger? Juicy Jules! Good evening, Juicy Jules, and welcome to tonight's trivia. I hope you had a great week and a terrific weekend. Good evening, Left-Handed RN. How are you doing today? I hope you had a great weekend. Glad you could be here with us tonight. Taking a walk with the doggo. Give me about 15 minutes and I'll have it in your email. Okay, Mama Bear. Colorado has had a lot of rain this summer. Juicy Jules, are you in Colorado as well? We got a couple of people in here tonight I know that are in Colorado. My sister lives in Colorado. She is closer to Denver now, but in the past, she's lived in Greeley and in Fort Collins. But now she lives closer to Denver. She likes it there. And K-Love. Good evening, K-Love. Oh, it's all right. You're more on time than the people who are not here. Okay, question number 9. The correct answer is D, as in dog. Chris Watts got a bunch of different gift cards to restaurants and local establishments in and around the area. These were given out through his work to employees as bonuses, safety bonuses, meeting production goal bonuses, stuff like that. They gave them gift cards. And these gift cards he would use to wine and dine his whore, Nicole Kessinger. And no, people take offense to the word whore, but anyone who is involved in a relationship with a married man is a whore. I'm sorry if you take offense to the name. Question number 10. With local and state law enforcement searching for Shannon and the girls, what did Chris do? He gave a scripted interview on TV. B, he ate and watched TV. C, he went to his whore's house. Or D, he pumped iron and ate. What did Christopher Watts do while law enforcement was searching for his wife and children? And then Cannibal Israel Sagwa. Not many know this case. Tom Baker, if you go to my YouTube channel, where you're at now, and you look for the trivia nights, Israel Sagwa. We covered. I did trivia night on Israel Sagwa, the cannibal. Um, Probably about 4 months ago. I did Israel Sagwa about, yeah, probably about 4 months ago. It was this year in 2025. I know that part, but we've done trivia night on him. Again, 100% of all of the trivia nights, the subject matter for them, are viewers suggested. People suggest, the nights. I write them down in this little black book here, and as more and more people ask about them, that's what I do. I put trivia nights together on the ones that are the most popular. I can't believe it's been 7 years. Time sure does fly. It does. Yeah. Oh, okay. You knew that I did it, Tom Baker. Okay. All right. Question number 10 is the correct answer is A as in apple. He gave a scripted interview on TV. Think Shannon was the only party who spent overspent on clothes and purses. Forensic accounting put an estimated value of all her clothes and purses at between $5,300 and $7,400. This accounting was done as part of the donation of the items to charity. Chris spent and lost $5,000 plus the $3,900 on the stupid quad runner for $8,915. Now, when the family had the option, um, the talking about Shannon's family, they had the option that they could go into the house after the murder in the case was finalized, and they could have whatever they wanted out of the house. They did take some personal items, and so did the Watts family. So the Ruschecks and the Watts, they did collect some personal items from the house. The rest of the stuff went to charity. But as part of that, they did a forensic accounting of the value of the items so they can note them down that these items were donated in case either one of the families wanted to, deduct the value. I don't think either one of them gave a rat's ass about doing that, but they did it anyways. It's just part of the entire thing. They went through room by room and cleared everything out. Some things they couldn't take, some things they did. Not everything ended up going to charity. I don't want you to think that there's a whole household of the Watt stuff that ended up in one location. FBI files. A collection of noteworthy details and insights drawn from FBI cases files on serial killers and spree killers. Whenever possible, I post musings about tonight's subject matter. Otherwise, these are just general musings. In the FBI file, which I obtained through a FOIA request, it states Christopher Watts worked out on the home gym obsessively in the weeks prior to the murders and started acting overly confident with all women that he had interaction with at work and in public. Excessively. It notes in the actual notes itself that Christopher Watts was working out on the home gym 2 to 3 times a day for several hours each time. And don't forget that Christopher Watts, in his statement at the, and part of his interview at the Dodge Correction Center with the CBI and the FBI, he admitted that he had planned to try and he tried to kill his daughters and his wife once prior to actually doing it, but he lost the courage to do it. But he had planned on doing it once before. Yeah. It is time for a break. We always take a break after the first 10 questions if you are new here. Normally, during this time, I would show you two cold cases of people who are missing and endangered across the United States. Today, we have no such cases because I accidentally put it on vacation a day early. So I have no files to actually share with you of people who are missing and endangered. Yes, I will be on vacation for the next 8 days. And I will be gone from today through the 18th. I am leaving tonight at approximately 8 p.m. my time. So that's a little over 3 hours from now. I am leaving. I am going to the ocean this year on the coastline, Pacific coast of Washington and Oregon, somewhere in that general location. Normally, I go to a cabin that is off the grid in the Cascade Mountain Range, but because of the manhunt for Travis Decker and the proximity of where that cabin is to where he possibly could, and where a recent sighting was called in for him, uh, the person who has owns that cabin has taken it off of. It's not on Airbnb or one of those sites like that. It is a private website where people list vacation homes that are not your general normal vacation homes where you have like a swimming pool and stuff like that. These are vacation properties in areas you just would not find on other sites. But they are not listing it this year. So I am going to the ocean. Now that is only that part of my vacation is only 4 days. And the other 3 days I play in a charity golf tournament. I play Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And I can return home the 18th, which is the following week, on Monday. And but those 3 days that I play in that charity, it's a pro am tournament. We raise money for different charities each year. This year, we are raising money for muscular dystrophy, and we are raising money for lymphoma, cancer. But each and every one of us is sponsored, or we have to come up with our own sponsorship, equal matching money for the tournament. But I do this every year because I believe in giving back to my community and to people who are less fortunate than myself. And even if you don't have money, you can help people out immensely just tomorrow morning as you're walking in the door to someplace. Hold the door open for someone and greet them and say, "Good morning." You never know just how much that could change the positivity of someone's day. And that could go a mile because if you help someone or you say something like that to someone, it pays dividends. Equisearch Midwest is helping now with Equisearch. They work with Dutyron quite a bit. I don't know why I'm telling you, Kitty Q. You know that. Your son likes golfing, Juicy Jules. So one of the only ways that I survived this life, and I can get out there and I can just think about just how much I suck at the game. I don't have any devices on. I don't answer the phone. Nothing. I don't even carry. I carry an MP3 player with me, that's got music in a file, kind of like an iPod Shuffle, but I plugged to a Bluetooth speaker. My cousin had him for a teacher in school, 1987, 1988. Ooh, Tim Miller? No. Uh, the other day, someone opened the door for me, and my anger went away. There you go. It pays dividends, Reichart. It doesn't cost anything to be nice to somebody else or help somebody else out. Tim Miller, founder, lost his daughter of EquiSearch. 10-year-old missing in Kentucky. Duty Ron is cool. Yes, he is. Ron is a great guy. Andres Patty, teacher and serial murderer in the Brussels area. Oh, wow. Serial killer and teacher. Oh, you're talking about Pete Townsend. Pippadot. Let My Love Open the Door is Pete Townsend. Huh. Got over 10 million views on YouTube. I, for some reason, I thought it was Ringo Starr. I thought it was Ringo. For some reason, that was the first name and picture that popped in my head. But I thought it was Ringo. We all love Deuteron and Ed Wallace and Joey Brooklyn, but never get to see Joey. I want to see more Joey. I see him in the chat, but why can't you see Gemma's comments again? I don't know, Reichard. I haven't seen. Well, Gemma was here. I think maybe Gemma went to sleep. I don't know. Are you awake, Gemma? I'm 190 away from 6,000 subscribers. The last thing that she posted. So she's still awake. She's still with us. We are done with our break. I'm sorry. I was just reading comments. All right, let's get back to this. Without further delay, let's get back to our normal programming. Question number 11 of 20. What unusual phrase did Chris Watts say repeatedly during his TV interview while smirking? Was it A, I don't know where they went? B, maybe someone took them? C, they are gone? Or D, Chad Daybell took them? Rackar, I'm right here, she says. Gemma says she's right here. Good evening, Bonnie. Question number 11 of 20. What unusual phrase did Chris Watts say repeatedly during his TV interview while smirking? Kitty Q's going with C? Question mark? I don't know. It could be. It could be C. Question number 11. You know, Gemma, you're not alone in that. I actually saw the same thing happen to me yesterday on a video. Okay, Gemma, this will make sense to you and probably only you. I'm gonna. I forgot. First, I forgot to put myself in my little circle there. All right. So, see this little piece of paper that's it's here in the camera. I track the views and the comments on certain videos before I change the thumbnail. So it's kind of like my version of an A/B testing for videos. At 1:48 yesterday, on this one video in particular, I only had 82 views on it at that time and 11 comments. At 6:40, so approximately 5 hours later, it went from 82 to 79, and then went from 79 to 98, approximately 40 minutes later. So I've seen the same thing where views just poof, they went into the atmosphere someplace. I don't know what it is, but sometimes that happens. Question number 11 for everybody. If you answered either B or C, you are correct. He said both of those over more than once in the actual interview on TV. They are gone, and maybe someone took them. They said it multiple times for each of those. They are gone, and maybe someone took them. Question number 12. What did the neighbor say to police during the investigation that raised red flags? Was it A, Chris is acting strangely? B, he knows what happened to them? C, check his truck? C, he is a fan of the book Gone Girl? Question number 12 of 20. What did the neighbor say to police during the investigation that raised red flags? Dirk, Dirk McGiggity, you been snorting Thrive all day long? It's your birthday? Well, Dirk McGiggity, aka Mr. Frosty, happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, Dirk McGiggity, aka Mr. Frosty. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, Dirk McGiggity. McGiggity. I doubt Watts ever read a book. Question number 12. The correct answer is A as in apple. And for the record, Joe Tall Chief, he is a fan of the book Gone Girl. And Mary, I see you pop in there. Hello, Mary. How are you doing, Gone Girl? I hope you're doing well. Thank you for being here with us today. But um, he was a fan of the book Gone Girl, and he said that he could really understand, and he had compassion for the father in the book Gone Girl. But if he's never read any book, he's probably read that one. But now, ladies and gentlemen, Christopher Watts is a born again Christian. And he now believes and is toting the Bible everywhere he goes. He is a saved man. If you believe that, I have a bridge to sell you. All right, question number 13. While the family was still missing, After Chris had killed them all, what was the first thing he searched for on the internet? Was it A, lyrics to In the Year 2525? B, lyrics to Crazy Train? C, lyrics to 1999 by Prince? Or D, lyrics to Battery by Metallica? Question number 13 of 20. While the family was still missing, after Chris had killed them all, what was the first thing he searched for on the internet? Question number 13. In the year 2525, will man still be alive? I'm on a crazy train. Is that on Ozzy? What was on this album? You know, I've had it sitting behind it. Side one is I don't know. Crazy Train is on this album. This is Ozzy Osbourne with Randy Rhoads, the tribute album. Crazy Train is the second song on here. Then Believer, then Mr. Crowley. Side two, disc one, and then Flying High Again, Revelations, Mother Earth, then Steal Away the Night. Second album in this one is side three, I guess technically. Second album is Suicide Solution with guitar solo by Randy Rhoads, then Iron Man, then Children of the Grave, and then Paranoid. The B side of the second album is Goodbye to Romance, No Bone Moves, and then Dee Dee, Randy Rhoads studio outtake to D. Great album. Well, two album set. I have the first album's actually inside my record player underneath this where that's sitting. Hellraiser, get your back on your feet. Friday by Rebecca Black. Truly lampooned as one of the worst songs of the 2000s. And that's not my list. I didn't make that list, but it was on VH1 or something like that, or MTV. It's one of the worst songs of the 2000s. All right, question number 13. The correct answer is D, as in dog. He searched for the lyrics to Battery by Metallica. Question number 14. According to former inmates who were housed with Christopher Watts at Dodge Correction Center, how many women does he write to monthly? Again, I hinted at this when somebody said that he was getting married. Good for him. Again, is it A, 10 women, B, 12, C, 8, or D, 9? How many women does Christopher Watts write to monthly, according to former inmates who served time in the same housing unit as him? These are not just people who wouldn't know or just happen to be at Dodge Correction Center somewhere in one of the housing units. These are people who are actually in the same housing unit as him. How many letters and women does he write to monthly? Watts saying he could do so much good on the outside, considering he's now born again Christian. Good evening. Something to talk about. Randall Chrisman shouldn't have been searching for how not to say anything in an interview or consult an attorney before I took a lie detector test. Right? Well, yeah, but we already established that Christopher Watts is a complete dumbass. I mean, but and good evening, Randall. Randall. Good evening and welcome to tonight's trivia. The correct answer to question number 14 is B as in boy. 12 letters. Now I'm assuming that two of those women that he's probably writing to is his mother and his sister. I don't know, but I'm just gonna say that maybe it's his mother and sister, or two of them. But that would still leave 10 women that he is writing to monthly, that he is writing letters to, and if he's getting married to one of those 10, does she know about the others that he's writing to? I'm sure he's not confessing his love to them in some kind of scam to get more money put onto his commissary account. He certainly wouldn't do that. Question number, we skipped 15. Sorry to be a bummer with this question, but how far along was Shanann with baby Nico when she was murdered? Was it A, approximately 15 weeks, B, approximately 9, C, approximately 4, or D, approximately 18? How far along was Shanann with her pregnancy at the time when Christopher Watts murdered her? Charles Bay Tucker. Well, they also, Rykard, a lot of them use it to, especially those who are have a possibility of parole within a short period of time. They'll say that they're born again Christians, that they've changed and repented for their crimes, so it looks good for the parole boards. I'm sure there are truly people out there in the prison system and outside of the prison system that that are born again, and please do not take my mockery, of Christopher Watts saying that he is a born again Christian to believe that, don't take that to as me saying that people shouldn't believe in Christianity or that somebody can't be a born again Christian. Whatever your faith is and your belief system in, if it teaches you to not harm other people and to treat others with respect, then go with it. I don't care if you join the People's Temple or if you decide that you believe in an alien ship that's behind Halley's Comet. I don't care. You do you. How far along was she in her pregnancy at the time of the murder? She was 15 weeks approximately pregnant at the time that Christopher Watts murdered her and ended her life and baby Nico's. A as in apple is the correct answer. Callie Lisa has been a member of investigator level for 7 months and counting. Thank you very much, Callie Lisa. And everyone else who is a channel member. Oh, Gone Girl, thank you very much for gifting channel memberships. Anonymous, good evening. Welcome, Anonymous. J Truck, Who Knows, Mama Mia, Linda Jane, Solo Angel, Mama UA, Tawana XO, Tufana Samoa, I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing your last name or first name incorrectly there. I'm truly sorry. And AK respects pickles and Celeste. Welcome and Sprinkled Dona has been a member for 6 months and ongoing. Been a member for years. Much respect, Will. Thank you very much. Again, to everyone who's a channel member, I really do appreciate you being here. Please check out the channel membership only videos and streams. And also keep in mind that a lot of the videos that you will see that come up on 411 now, I would say a good 70% of all the videos, doesn't matter if it's a shorts video, long form video, you will see it an hour earlier than everyone else. You get the first hour with no ads, nothing, and you get it early before anyone else sees it. But in YouTube's infinite wisdom, the way that they run things, the moment I move it from channel member only to public, it erases all of your comments and it erases your actual views. But you still get the video an hour early. Just I can't comment on them because it's just going to delete them anyways. But thank you again to everyone. And thank you again, Gone Girl, for gifting the channel memberships. I appreciate it. Something to talk about has been a member investigator for 51 months. Thank you. All right. Moving on to the next question. Next is Christopher Watts murdered his entire family and unborn child in 2018. Google Analytics show that the Watts murder are still being covered and read about in 2025 and are currently rated number 19 on search words and terms. If you go to Google Analytics keyword search SEO on Google, you will find that number 19 is Chris Watts is still number 19 out of the hundreds of millions of different search terms that they have. 65 months. Gone Girl has been a chief level supporter. Thank you very much, Mary. I appreciate it. Next question is number 16. Who was Nicole Atkins and what part did she play in this case? Was she A, the neighbor with the gray pickup? B, Shannon's best friend and called the police? C, a giant thorn in Chris Watts's ass? Or D, she worked at a pizza shop? Question number 16 of 20. What was Nicole Atkins? Who was Nicole Atkins? And what part did she play in this case? Cement shoes. To answer your question, Callie, Lisa, can anybody beat Gone Girl for longest channel membership? Cement shoes. And I don't know if for Cement shoes though. I know has been around the longest and been a channel member of anyone who's been a channel member. But there have been times when it didn't renew or his card expired and then he renewed. But I know that Cement Shoes has been the channel member longer than anyone. I subscribe to Nicole Atkins' YouTube channel. Sorry, I meant to put in B. Styles going with B and C, and left-handed RN. Add C to that as well. I hope Cement Shoes is doing well. I have not seen Cement recently, or at least in last week. Hope Cement Shoes is doing well, though. All right, question number 16. If you answered B or C, you are correct on this one as well. B or C. She was Shannon's best friend, and she is the one that demanded that the police get involved, that there was something seriously wrong, and that she would never miss that doctor's appointment for the checkup for baby Nico. And she was a serious thorn in the ass of Chris from the moment that Shannon missed her appointment. And she would be a thorn in his ass for the rest of his life if he ever, was not convicted or taken down by his guilt. That she would be there right now today to make sure he pays. So she was a giant thorn in Christopher Watts' ass. Plus, she was the friend who went to the house looking for her and called the police. Question number 17. What was the first thing police noticed about Chris Watts' demeanor when talking to him the first time? Was it A, he wouldn't make eye contact? B, he was inconsistent with statements? C, he asked to call his mommy twice? Or D, he sucked his thumb like a baby? Question number 17 of 20. What was the first thing police noticed about Chris Watts' demeanor when they talked to him the first time? All right, 1 second. I'll be right back. I'm still here. I'm just opening another tab. Uh, I know more about Scott Peterson, another would-be actor and giant piece of shit. Yeah, Scott Peterson. I'm not seeing the email. Well, let me go back and see if I got. All right, go here. Open. Yeah. Is that the email address you sent it to, Mama Bear? 411 now business, no spaces in there, at gmail.com. All right, question number 17. The correct answer to question number 17 is B as in boy. His statements to police were inconsistent with what he was going on. He was inconsistent, but yet he looked right in their faces and bold facedly lied over and over again. Sometimes we just got to tag Will. Question number 18. What did Graham Coder from the FBI note was oddly strange about Chris Watts? Was it A, completely lied about little facts? B, he lied about the family debt? C, he lied about timelines of events, or D, completely unemotional. Kitty cute. All the above. You and Joe Tallchief both put that in at the same time, Kitty Coo. All the above. And the exact same second. Question number 18 of 20. The correct answer is D as in dog. Sprinkled donut at the end there. Be nice to anyone. Good evening. Be nice to anyone. Welcome to tonight's trivia. And correct. The correct answer to question number 18 is, in fact, D. His neighbors in the front yard of the TV. His neighbor was smart. He saw it. Yeah. All right. Question number 19. What was the ultimate sentence for Chris Watts for killing his family? Was it A, 189 years, B, 3 life sentences plus 10 years, C, 5 life sentences plus 48 years, or D, 4 life sentences plus 20 years? It has been a while. Be nice to anyone. I hope you're doing well. They're cooking early dinner for your kids, little rugrats. Mine, I already before I came in here tonight to do trivia night, I made my son dinner. He wanted spaghetti, and he wanted hot dogs cut up and put into the spaghetti. Yes, yum yum. Get you some. But he's only 9, and that's what he one of the things that he has decided that he likes a lot. He'll eat it so much, and then he'll get burnt out of it, and then he won't want to look at it ever again, and he'll move on to another food. 144,000 years to read Chad Daybell's religious books. That's funny, right, Kurt? That's a life sentence plus, cruel and unusual punishment. Oh my God, you're cooking spaghetti too? What a coincidence! Do they like hot dogs cut up into them, or wieners? Bratwurst or anything like that cut up and put into it, or do you put like a meat in there, or just vegetable? Photo sent the full one email. Getting back on the bike. Message again when I reach back. Okay. I got it. One second, everyone. I'm trying to share the photo from Mama Bear. So just give me a second. I'm going to crop this. Hopefully this will work out. This is for Gannon. Gannon Strong. Hashtag. And then save. No definition of it. Sorry for the loud noise there. I forgot that it makes a chime whenever I save files. All right. The email will be from Samantha. Mama Bear, I got it. I got the email. How do I add it though? Image, picture. Okay, cool. All right, ladies and gentlemen, this is one of the photos that Mama Bear just sent. So bear with me for just a second. I know it's going to, especially if you're on a cell phone, I would have to spend more time and shorten it down. But this is Memorial at where she say Colorado Springs. That is for Gannon. Love one another. Hashtag Gannon Strong. This is a mural on a wall. I believe she said was in Colorado Springs. I don't know if you can see it. You might have to expand out on it if you're on a cell phone. That is a really cool mural, though. Bulldog Mama. Good evening, Bulldog Mama. Great name, by the way. But yeah, the picture you see, I know it says in the white part there, it says no definitions available. That's because I took a screenshot of what I was saving. So that's not in the artwork. But all right, back to trivia. All right. What was Christopher Watts' sentence? The correct answer is C as in cat. 5 life sentences plus 48 years is what he got. He took a plea deal to that. Question number 20. How did Chris Watts react in prison when shown photos of his dead family by the FBI? Was it A, no emotions at all? B, he cried and said, too late, bring them back? Is it C, turned the photo over and said, oops? Or D, he cried and said he missed them? Question number 20 of 20. What was Christopher Watts reaction to in prison when shown photos of his dead family by the FBI? Question number 20 of 20. Let you guys think about that while I look at the second photo from Mama Bear. Oh, it's the same mural, but it's just a different angle. It's still a cool ass mural though. And thank you so much, Mama Bear, for sharing that with us. How did Chris Watts react in prison when shown photos of his dead family by the FBI? Kitty don't is torn. Torn. Going with D. Question number 20 of 20. The correct answer is A, as in apple. He had no emotion at all when showing the photos of his dead family, but he did say that he missed them every single day. When they asked him if he had anything else to say about it, he said no. A sociopath doesn't have the ability to feel emotions. That is the 20 questions. Once a home wrecker, always a home wrecker, though. Miss Kessinger moved. In 2022, she was dating a man who was already allegedly in a relationship, according to a Facebook photo and post. Once a home wrecker, always a home wrecker. In 2022, she was allegedly dating a man who was already in a relationship with someone else. Allegedly. Again, that's what it says there on purpose because I can't confirm that. But that's what the Facebook post said. You have the option to give yourself a letter grade on how you did on all 20 questions. This is completely optional. We are only here to play for fun and for entertainment purposes, only to hang out and chat with friends. That we do every single Sunday at the same time, 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 5 o'clock Mountain, 6 o'clock Central, 7 o'clock Eastern. You do not have to give yourself a letter grade. It is completely optional. Of the 20 questions, if I hadn't put these together, I would have known 19 of the 20 that were on tonight's trivia. The following next is a sneak peek at a poll question every Monday at 10 a.m. Before 10 a.m. I post a poll question to the community tab. And yes, sometime tomorrow, I'm going to stop where I can get internet service and I'm going to post the following question. Putting aside reproductive rights for a moment, should the death of an unborn child who dies because the mother is murdered be counted as another murder? A, yes, B, no, C, maybe, or D, no opinion. Not sure why it's not already. But this is the sneak peek to the poll question that I post. I post a question every week. Chris Watts should get married to Scott Peterson. Is that SOB ever? Is he going to get out of prison? I mean, a lot of talk about that there's a chance that he could get out of prison because of the political connections that are putting pressure on the parole board to release him, the prison to release him. That is. Excuse me. But no, in certain jurisdictions across the United States, according to my notes that I wrote down here, there are certain jurisdictions. If you kill the mother and she's pregnant, it doesn't matter how advanced the pregnancy is, be it less than a week or almost full term. If you kill the mother, the child does not count as another victim until the child is born alive. I know. I can see the comments about this already. I can see it and I can read it. I didn't say I agree with it. I just said that is the law in certain jurisdictions. It does not count as another murder until the child is actually born. They do not consider anything before birth, live birth, to be actually alive. Could the child have lived without the mother, yeah, we all know that after a certain point, viability out without the mother is, could the child could live. I mean, hell, my son was a preemie, and he was in the hospital for 3 months after birth. But you wouldn't know it now. Boy stands just about here on me. He's only 9. He's going to be a tall kid. No, a tall adult. I mean, he's already a tall kid. He's a good foot, maybe taller than everyone else in his class. Well, you have a great relaxed vacation. Relaxed. I'm going to Pippadot and thank you very much. I am going to. Well, I have to stop first in Dayton tonight because I'm leaving here in about 3 hours from now. I'm leaving on vacation for the next 7 days. Goodbye, internet. Goodbye, everything. And so, but I'm going to stop in Dayton, Washington tonight. I have friends who live in an area of Dayton, and then from there I'm going on to the ocean. Gone Girl, you were a preemie as well. Thank you, Joe Tall Chief. I will. Gonna relax, recharge my batteries. You know, I have to get away and like clear my head from all this stuff. You guys know, yeah, I mean, you might be fans of true crime, and stuff like that, but I mean, I don't even cover even 10% of the cases that come across my desk, and the things that people will do to each other, especially the things that people do to the vulnerable parts of our society, elderly and to children in particular. I mean, it gets to you after a while. And I try not to follow these cases or read about them, but I mean, just look at the comment section tonight. That's every day. I see these things, constantly. The people want, to email me, forward me, stories about another child that was found murdered or another child that disappeared. I go down these rabbit holes like, for a monkey, Michael Vaughn, Monkey, aka Monkey, and I throw everything into, doing the investigation on it, and everything else is just to find that I get too involved in them because I don't know how to not be involved, and read, and try to research everything I can about them, about the cases, the people around them. It's sad, but that's my own fault though. But again, I take this vacation every year at the same time to just get away and recharge and just let it all go. I don't even open my phone to check my email. I turn it off and stick it in the glove box of my car. And I won't get it back out until Monday when I drive home again. So that's what I have to do. I have to just disconnect everything. Don't want to know. I get really tired of it. Like Kohlberger. Kohlberger's a scum. I don't know how the hell. So speaking of Kohlberger, I'll talk about that for a second. Think about this. When it comes to criminals, okay, there is a path of criminology that starts off, where maybe growing up in adolescent will kind of push the buttons and try to get away with little things here, little things there. They may commit a small petty crime here, and if they get away with it, they'll try it again. But and then slowly build up over time, to committing more major crimes if they're not no intervention is or repercussions come in line there. How do you, as Brian Kohlberger, How do you go from being kind of not hated, but respected, and a lot of people looked at him as being very smart, intellectually, and also having some street smarts to him as well. How do you go from that to being, helping a TA, being a teacher's assistant at the university while you're working on your PhD? How do you go from that to killing four college students? I mean, he went from down here to all the way up here to murder. I mean, they're almost always there's a step in there that the criminals take before they go from petty theft to murdering one person, little four. Why? So the question you have to ask yourself is why? Why did he do it? Did he really think that he was so smart that he could get away with it? I don't know, but I mean, I look at the entire thing, and then I know Pullman, Washington, where Brian Kohlberger was a student at WSU. That's my alma mater. Yeah, that's where I went to. I went to college there, and I know Moscow, Idaho, and the U of I. I know that area like the back of my hand. It's approximately 73 miles from where I am right now sitting. Unfortunately, it's the opposite direction from the direction I'm going. But I know where those apartments that he lived in are. I know where that house was next to the U of I. I know this place, that area so well. It's not like it's down the street where he went and decided to kill the neighbors in the next apartment complex, or off row housing. Well, how do you he pick them? How did he, and how why did he decide to actually commit murder? Did he convince himself that he was so smart and he had learned so much from his criminology studies that he could get away with murder? If he did, he's an even bigger dumbass than we really ever gave him credit for. Because he's a soulless psychopath? Well, I believe that is possibility, Sal, because he definitely checks off a lot of the boxes of a sociopath. But I hate to use the terminology sociopath or psychopath for someone that has not received a formal diagnosis of either. But he definitely, and don't get me wrong, Sal, as society, we love to be able to put people in a box and say, okay, this is a sociopath, and put them in that box. This is a psychopath, put them in this box. I mean, and they could have, multiple different things that could belong in different boxes. But as society, we feel better if we know we can put them in a box and say, this is a sociopath, this is a narcissist, this is a convicted pedophile. Yeah, you want to be able to, people in society want to be able to put people in a box. So I just don't like to use that either one of the terms, sociopath or psychopath, without someone having a formal diagnosis of it. Maybe he will someday. Maybe he'll sit down, and actually formally be diagnosed someday. I don't know. He was on his way to becoming a serial killer. Yeah. Well, he skinned a puppy prior to murder. Did he? Kober got what he wanted. He will now study what he ultimately became, a monster. There is a certain aspect to that Tom Baker about wanting that moment of fame, of infancy, to go down as someone who committed the most horrific crime in the Palouse region, because that's the area that's called the Palouse. And there has never been, at least not in like 40 years, some type of murder or homicide like this of that nature, a crime that caught the national attention for all the wrong reasons. I think the biggest scandal before that was, um, Greek row, gambling and alcohol drinking by the Greek fraternities off campus housing. I think that was like the biggest scandal before that. And before that, it was probably the football program with the coach. And that is where Washington State University is where that one quarterback who got drafted by the Chicago, not Chicago, but they lost. That they would have been the Chargers. The Chargers that Ryan Leaf went to Washington State University. San Diego Chargers. Thank you. I had to think about that for a second. Like, where the hell is the Chargers from? They're Los Angeles now, but they were San Diego. And everybody knows that Ryan Leaf is probably one of the biggest busts in the NFL at quarterback next to Jamarcus Russell. But that was because he was constantly stoned, the entire time he played in college and in the professional. It got worse by the time he got to the NFL. But that was probably the next biggest scandal. There had been a murder here, a murder there. There had been a rapist, a couple of, people like that. There had been some hate crimes that had happened, but nothing that's all like here at this level. You add way up here for 4 murders, for the University of Idaho. I mean, it basically, it's really a safe area. Washington State University used to advertise themselves to high school students as the the best place to go to school, the farthest away from home without leaving your state, because there is no reason for your parents to just be. I was in town and I thought I'd stop in and see you, because there is nothing but soybean and lentil fields around the entire college. There's nothing there. So, I mean, I shouldn't say there's nothing there. I mean, there's the Snake River. There's a couple of dams. Lower Granite Dam is there. There's outdoor venues, concerts, and stuff like that. But there's something there. It's not a whole lot of anything. It's not like being at Gonzaga, which is in Spokane area, where they have a major attractions and stuff that for people to go do and see. But they will always be the Los Angeles Raiders to me instead of the Las Vegas. Well, Rykart, I always look at the Rams. I just like now, trying to figure out where the hell the Chargers are. They're Los Angeles Chargers, but the Rams are always going to be from St. Louis to me. They're going to be the St. Louis Rams. But such a nut, demented with those masks. BTK hanging himself in those photos. Dennis Reeder, bind, torture, kill. And I was reading about the Son of Sam today. I stumbled across a bunch of these, finished trivia night, topics, questions that I put together. But I stumbled across, that, and I went down kind of like a rabbit hole for a little bit this afternoon, reading about, his time in prison, and he is a ordained minister now behind bars. The Son of Sam, Berkowitz, David Berkowitz, is an ordained minister. He went from Satanist and killing people to ordained minister. I think his daughter should just walk away No, good for her. Yeah, I would. They didn't talk for what, years and years and years. Dennis Rader and his daughter, quite a few years. I have it written down somewhere here, probably over on the other table. Because I cleaned off everything that's normal here. Usually there's like stacks of paper on both sides of me here. You guys don't see on camera, but I have notes everywhere. Because I'm a prolific. I write everything down. I write down everything. Notebooks, spiral notebooks. This is live stream from 2021. I just grabbed, but that composition notebooks. I write everything down longhand, and then I put it into a word processor that way, and then I save the file, and then I add things to it, and then it goes from that to me actually researching each and every question. I rewrite it all back out again as I actually find the sources for the questions for every single one of these trivia nights. So I'm constantly working on 3 or 4 different trivia nights at the same time. Tell you all who screwed up, Happy Face Killer's daughter Melissa Moore, Keith Jefferson. There's a Sophia. No, the Rams started in L.A. Started in Cleveland, but spent most of the time in L.A. Well, it's and then again, it's like Baltimore Ravens. They're always going to be, the Ravens were the Browns. Who got the Tennessee is it Tennessee Titans used to be the Oilers? You know, you think you wouldn't remember this stuff, but I mean, years and years later, that you just be sitting around, talking to people, all of a sudden popped in your head, like where these teams used to be. It's good. It's a pastime. It's something to do, to watch and enjoy. I would never call myself a rabid fan or a really strong fan of any one team. I mean, there's teams I like to follow and watch, but I don't think I'm ever going to be, tattooing on my arm, the name of a football team like some of these people do. I know my friend Pete has got the San Francisco 49ers on his shoulder or bicep right here on his arm. Got the big old San Francisco 49ers logo. But yeah, don't forget, ladies and gentlemen, every time you tune in to watch the NFL, remember the NFL is a non-profit 401c3. The NFL has non-profit status, and they are protected as a non-profit. The NFL. The NFL owns nothing except for their licensing and their actual name and logos and everything else that they protect. But they own nothing because they are a non-profit. But they do own everything. And they now own a 10% stake in ESPN in Disney. But they're a non-profit. The only professional sports league in the world that has a non-profit status, the NFL. Yeah, the billions of dollars that flow in and out of that business, and they're a nonprofit. Okay. All the teams are owned by billionaires. billions and billions of dollars that flow through the entire thing. But they're nonprofit. Oh well, it's not. I mean, I can't change it. That's true, Kitty Q. I got in trouble for that. I got a warning from the NFL. I was at the time I was the governor of my Moose Lodge, Loyal Order of the Moose. It's a family fraternal organization, and we wanted to have a Super Bowl party, and we mentioned on a flyer and online on our website that we were having a Super Bowl party, and they told us that we had to take this. We got a warning that was sent to us from the NFL. This is probably, 15 years ago, somewhere in there, 20 years ago, that we needed to take the word Super Bowl out of the ad because they own the word Super Bowl. So we called it Football Super. Over there, it's soccer. Football is soccer. Over across the pond, or is it actual soccer? That's why you don't. It's unfreaking believable. That's why you don't watch football anymore, Rycart. I used to watch a lot more of it when my buddy Tim lived here. I'll see him Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Those 3 days that I play in the golf tournament, I will see Tim. He's got to drive about 260 miles to get to the where the golf tournament is. But my buddy Tim will be there. I think in total, about 11 of my friends will be there. So it's going to be a good weekend. Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, because we play in the golf tournament. They drive from all over. Got one friend that's driving up from Albuquerque. He's coming up from Albuquerque. Well, he's actually in Portland, Oregon right now, but he's going from Portland up to Chehalis. This is where the golf tournament is. But Chargers 14. Richardson, Texas. Texas, yeah, they better be careful down there. They got all those transplants from California moving to Texas. They ain't careful. They're going to end up just being another little, California. Except now it's just one popular arena. It's many. Never know what's going to happen. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to wrap up trivia night here. I want to thank everyone again for being here for trivia night. Please remember, there will be no trivia night next Sunday. There will be no, show on Friday or Saturday. I have a couple of videos that I'm going to drop throughout the week that are already pre-done and scheduled to be posted during the week. So keep an eye out for those. If you're new here, please consider giving, subscribe. It's free to subscribe. It's free to give it a thumbs up if you've been here all night and watched trivia. I would appreciate it. But in the meantime, everyone, you all have a terrific week ahead. And thank you again. And thank you again to Mama Bear for sharing the photo of the wall, the memorial wall for Gannon. That is super cool. I do believe she said if you want to go see that, it's in Colorado Springs. I believe is what she said, but I'm not entirely sure about that. But and maybe she'll jump in if I'm wrong. She'll comment after the stream after she gets back from walking her dog. Where it's at. But anyways, ladies and gentlemen, you stay safe out there, and I will see you again soon. Bye.